Peter. Welcome everyone to Communicate Now, where we talk about all things related to effective communication skills, everything from sales to networking, leadership, public speaking, and my personal favorite, how to win friends and influence people. Today, we have a special guest, Christabelle Joseph. Christabelle is an entrepreneur, speaker, and global connector. She's a self-described hyperconnector, teacher, and the founder and CEO of Hyperformers. Hyperformers helps entrepreneurs expand and express their mission through purpose-driven businesses. And you can find her on Instagram at christabelle.joseph. Christabelle, I'm so happy to have you on here. How are you doing?
I'm incredible. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm truly, it's an honor. It's a privilege to be here in this space. So thank you for asking me to come on.
Great, great. And we spoke about a month ago. We spoke at length and I learned quite a lot about you. And I thought that you would be a perfect guest to bring on my podcast because you're a great speaker. You have a positive attitude. I think, well, I can tell that you have a very positive influence on other people and you're very inspirational. So I'm really happy to have you be here. And let's just get right into the questions. Are you ready?
I'm so ready. Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So you just got back from a conference in Vegas. Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, absolutely. It was probably one of the most incredible moments of my life. Not not gonna lie, it was something that I have been almost visualizing, for such a long time. And it was one of those things that I would see myself on stage. I would see myself in front of people. I would see myself really speaking my truth and understanding that that is something that I'm here to give to this world, to provide to this world. And it may be something that is outside of the per se status quo of what people usually talk about, but it is something that when I'm on stage, I know that I am a vessel to channel whatever it is that the divine is speaking through me. And so with Vegas, it was interesting because I was actually looking at, like where I was last year and how I am this year. And last year was actually my first speaking opportunity in front of about maybe like 30, 40 people, just very nervous. I remember that experience and I was like not really dialed in yet. It was my first speaking event. I had this opportunity and I took it and I was so nervous and was on authentic connection. So obviously a lot of what you talk about as well. And then flash forward to now March 2024 and I'm speaking on stage in Vegas and in front of hundreds of people, and it's so beautiful to witness, to see that, to really be able to inspire so many people from all around the world, and not just Canada. There's people from all over the States, from Singapore, Dubai, like everywhere. And it was such a powerful position for me to be in, I think, at this point in my life, for me to really feel that emotion of what it is that I'm actually here to do, and what does that really feel like to be on stage, to receive, I received a leadership award for all these cool, beautiful things that, I would almost dream about. I would almost, just like sit at home and every morning my meditation would visualize, me on stage, like, what am I going to say? What is needed to be said? Not even just what do I want to say, but what is required for me to say. So yeah, it was such a powerful experience, and I'm still on, a different cloud for sure.
And one thing I notice about you, Christabelle, is that when you speak, you constantly allude to meaning and purpose in what you're saying and what you're trying to get across to your audience. So how does meaning and purpose play a role in the way that you're speaking to people, or just what you're doing in your job, the career that you've chosen?
I love that. Thank you for that acknowledgement. Yeah, I really do try to um position myself in a way where it's allowing other people to receive permission to actually step into some questions. When it comes to meaning and purpose, I feel like I understand the first part of what I'm here to do. And of course, as I evolve, as I grow, purpose and meaning will always change, right? We can attach meaning to anything, and that's what gives things meaning, right? Is when we put some kind of action behind it and purpose behind it, right? That gives something meaning and value in this life, right? So it's like obviously like a pen. If you're using a pen, you're giving it a purpose. You're writing with it, and it's required to write. But with anything in life, I think meaning and purpose is so important, and having that North Star, your purpose, that alignment with the vision, and really understanding that, you know, we're here for such a short amount of time, but not only that, we we're here, and it's not really for us, you know, it's we're here to reach as many people, to be able to inspire as many people, and to really be able to help and serve as many people in this lifetime. And I think a lot more of us are kind of rising to that challenge, you know, in this day and age, which is beautiful to see. I think a lot of people are really excited to step further into their power, and understanding that there are so many things that are possible in this lifetime. And to have, you know, myself or other people that are talking about this, that, you know, didn't really have this in their past, I guess they didn't really have all these things that they were able to see. And, you know, it's one of those things that you don't know what you don't know. And if I grew up in a situation where, you know, my parents are immigrants, and I didn't know that, you know, having a nice car, all these things, like I didn't even know what that looked like or what that felt like, how can I possibly manifest that or create that reality in this world if I've never experienced it? You know, and that's such a big thing for a lot of people. It's that like, oh, I didn't grow up around it. I don't even know what that feels like. So how can I create a new paradigm in this life that is going to actually create this new life without attaching to the past and what that's looked like for me, and to actually break through that and be like, no, like I am actually worthy of this entire life of speaking in Vegas and going to conferences and, you know, inspiring people all around the world. Like that is my life, you know, like, and things, when you're in that frequency, they just happen because it's expected. It just is.
Wow. Wow. When I spoke with you the first time, I remember you said that when you pick up a microphone and you're about to talk to people, it's like everything comes into focus. It's like you reach your meaning and your purpose. Would that be correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like my favorite thing is having a microphone in my hand, or getting mic'd up, you know, whether it's an interview, whether it's a podcast, whatever that looks like. I feel very called to utilize that platform and optimize it to the furthest of my ability, you know, even if it's reaches just one person, whatever that looks like, you know, you never know who is going to listen to that and gain value, or be able to use anything that I've said to question little things in their life to create a better future.
Wow. And this conference was about leadership as well. Is that correct? The Vegas conference?
Yes.
Okay. So what is your philosophy when it comes to leadership?
Ooh, my philosophy. I don't know if I have a set philosophy on leadership, as it's continuously changing and I'm continuously learning. And I think the biggest thing that I've learned in leadership is that, you know, you have to be the student and the teacher. And I think with leadership, it's really taking out the ego and really creating an environment that is safe, that is, you know, the ability to really see people, and the ability to really bring out all and highlight, you know, all the gifts within another. And that comes from a lot of self-work, obviously. Everyone is a reflection of yourself, right? And so if you are stuck in, you know, your shadows, or if you're stuck in, you know, some of the darker parts, and you're not able to break through, then that's what actually creates that paradigm where you're not able to really see a lot of light in other people, and you're judgmental, or you have opinions and all these things that are creating this sense of a denser reality. Whereas, you know, going in and looking at your own shadows and having compassion and care and nurture for them, and loving all parts of self, which is a work in progress, of course. Like by no means am I already there yet, but I think it's really taking that in. And so when you have clients, when you have people that are joining, you know, my program, or whatever it looks like for you, you're able to really step into this role and position where you sense where people are at, and you're able to really bring out that light. And that's what I get to do with my program. And that's my favorite thing of being a leader, is that I get to actually practice it, with my clients. Like I'm so available, accessible to them, because I genuinely love when they're like, "Hey, Christabelle, like, honestly, like, I'm a little stuck. Like, I'm feeling a little bit heavy this week. Like, I don't really know what's going on." Like, and I'm like, let's jump on a phone call, like I was on the phone till like maybe 9:30 p.m. last night, just with my clients, and it's like I have this closeness with them where I know a lot of people will probably disagree, but like they feel like my family, like I feel like almost responsible for their success. And that's the commitment that I have, that I'm so committed to their wins, and that fuels me. It's like when I'm able to give value, that makes me feel on a higher frequency already. I'm like, damn, like this is why I do what I do, like if I could have client calls every single day, like, yes, like I'm winning, like this is like, it's so beautiful to me to have like those one-on-one interactions, to build those relationships, and to really be there for them. And I know that not a lot of people really understand or see that as a leader, and like where's the line of like friend and leader and all these things. But I feel like when you're able to show up as the best version of self, I am being that leader and that provider, but I'm also I'm showing up, and regardless of any circumstance, any financial insecurities, whatever that looks like, I'm still doing the thing. And I think that's what showing up as that leader looks like in all of the spectrum, right? It's that you take things day by day. Some days or some months, you'll, as an entrepreneur, you'll have 10, 20, 30K months. Some months, may not be that high. And that's just the reality of what it is to be an entrepreneur, right? And so are you still going to be able to operate at the 50, 100K per month level, even when when maybe some months you're making in the five, or whatever that looks like, right? So it's that consistency of like, regardless of what my external or materialistic experience is at that moment, I'm still able to show up at my best.
Yeah, and you spoke about self-work. Self-work. It seems like you've done a lot of self-work. Can you describe what is some self-work that you've done that has transformed you into the person you are now? Because I think you said just a year ago you were a keynote speaker in front of 30 to 40 people, did you say? And then
Yeah.
now at Vegas, you spoke in front of how many people? Over 100?
Yeah, like I would say like over 100 people, but like in retrospect of like, okay, like maybe there was like 50 and then 50 and 50 and 50 kind of thing. But definitely was an experience, being in a room filled with all these people. It was beautiful. But that journey alone took a lot of the self-worth and self-value was the biggest thing that I had, I believe that I was struggling with last year.
Okay.
And it really did translate into my life, into my partners, into, who I was as a person. And a lot of people did still kind of look up to me at that point, but there was almost this like an alignment that I felt within. And that was, translated, of course, on stage where I would get nervous. And, it felt almost like that imposter syndrome, right? Of like,
Yeah.
why am I up here speaking about this? And like who am I to speak about this when I'm, like my life almost felt like it just did not resonate. There was no resonance with what I was saying, to a certain point, of course. But I was still doing the work, but I didn't understand what doing the work really was, if that makes sense. And so for me, it took obviously getting some coaches, getting some mentors. I want to just give a quick shout out to Alan Phillips, who is my spiritual mentor.
Okay.
And he has pretty much completely shifted and changed and transformed my entire life. And that was working with him probably about 4 or 5 months ago now. And, it was through alchemy, and it was through the practice of his teachings that allowed me to really step into my light and step into what I was truly worthy of in this lifetime, which is everything and anything that is in alignment with my purpose and my vision, and once you understand that, you know, you can create whatever life you want. And that's the power of manifestation. It doesn't all have to be when people talk about abundance, you know, the first thing is like wealth, it's money. It's really not. Abundance can come in always and all different kinds of forms. And I think that when we detach from even money, and we start realizing that abundance is flowing, and it can flow through any and all. And you know, the fact that I'm in San Diego right now and I have a home, and it's because one of my friends is, you know, he lives here, and he's like, oh, like for sure stay here. And you know, LA, like opportunities in LA, there's like the same thing. I met someone at the conference and she's like, oh, stay with me. Like just the abundance of like all of the opportunities when you're open to it, and you're not constrained to like, oh, it just has to be money, and you're missing out on all of the rest that is there, that the universe is like, here, I'm like, hello, like I've brought you this, you know, and you're like, oh, I don't want that, it's not this, you know. So when you're open to it and you're open to receiving, the universe can really just shower you with blessings, and you're like, damn, like, oh, I just got goosebumps.
I did too. I felt it.
But yeah, basically just remaining open to all.
Yeah, I can see how you really inspire the people that you coach. What is Hyperformers exactly? What is your company, Hyperformers? Can you explain that briefly?
Absolutely, yes. Hyperformers is my baby, first of all. It is everything that I've ever aspired to create in this world. It is an opportunity for entrepreneurs to build something that is in resonance with their main mission in this life and their role in this life. And so anyone, I truly believe anyone, and a lot of people are like, oh, you have to have that entrepreneur spirit. You have to, you know, want to do something. And I truly believe that anyone can do that and anyone can get there. It is all mindset. And there's been so much of the other where it's like, oh, like you can't do that. But really the whole vision of this world is that we are going to eventually get to is that everyone is able to create their passion and just do what they enjoy doing every single day, and that is their business. And so if you get to do what you love every single day, it doesn't really become work anymore. It becomes more of play.
Yeah.
Right. And I know that we hear that all the time, work is play. And like, yes, like people say that and almost abuse that, I would say at this point where it's like, oh, work is play. And it's like, oh, work hard, play hard. And it's like, you don't really understand play. When I say play, I'm like really talking about like a child, you know, like a child on a playground playing and being able to express freely and playfully and be able to create projects with my friends. Like that is what it is to be a creator. That's what it is to be an entrepreneur, you know, like I get to host events with my girlfriends, and you know, like it's really just like, wow, like when you step into that playing field, it's really truly like, wow, like I can literally do anything. I can travel anywhere. I can host retreats wherever I want. I can do a cacao ceremony here with one of my friends. I can, you know, support my other friends with their companies as well. Like some of my friends have clothing companies, some of them are artists, some of them are singers, you know, and it's just like when you're on this spectrum, it's like everything becomes like, yeah, I want to support all of these creators. And so with Hyperformers, it's allowing you to step into your authentic self, your truest self, and create a business around that, and to help you get to that first six-figure mark. So breaking the paradigms of what money, you know, how to create money, breaking the paradigms of what's possible in this life, breaking any limiting beliefs and fears that people have when it comes to having a business, and allowing you to have the comfort of the support and the flexibility and the accessibility to resources and connections that are universal for your growth and your expansion.
Yeah. And you know, when you talk about play and you spoke about those events that you have a big social media presence, and I've watched a lot of your videos. You're dancing in a lot of your videos. You got some serious dance moves. You can bust a move. Okay. Now, do
Oh
you
my God.
dance? Do you dance at all your events? Like, how does this work? Because
No,
you don't
do
usually
you?
see these business events where you're just busting a move like that. Okay, so please explain that to me, because that was one of the most entertaining things I saw.
I'm dead. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. That's what, yeah. So going back to play,
Mhm.
sometimes I really just feel like like moving, you know, and movement is so, so beautiful and energetically cleansing for you. And some mornings, like I'll just start working out, and you know, by the end of my workout, I'm in a silly mood, and I just want to dance and I want to play, and then I'll just turn on the camera. But most of the time it's for me. Most of the time I'll just like crack up like watching it. And then the other day I was like, you know what, I just want to post this and make a funny thing out of it. But because I don't care, because I'm just like, oh, like, you know what, like have fun, go out there. Like I remember in Vegas too, I was with this incredible man. I met him like the first day that I was there, and he just ended up being my adventure buddy for Vegas. Both of us didn't really drink, and so we're like, let's just go and explore and, you know, just do fun things. So every night we would walk like 30,000 steps, you know, like all like just like looking at all the things and just being like
Yeah.
in our playfulness, right? Just being like, oh, cool, like what's this? What's that? And we ended up going to old Vegas, and there was just like this, there's like bands and stages like every like 2 blocks or so. So there's like different music that you're kind of flowing through. And so there was this one I remember where my favorite thing is getting other people to play with me. And I think that's it. Like, why not? Like, you know, like life is so short. Like, let's like, why not just like scream and yell and just like play and just dance and like do silly things and sing Shania Twain? Like, why not? You know, like,
Mm.
and so I was with this guy who like was totally like kind of corporate, I guess I would say, and just like, you
Mhm.
know, he was really sweet. And there was this one part where I was just like dancing so hard, and I was like, wow, like I was in my head, obviously I was like, damn, I wish my girls were here with me right now, like my
Mhm.
sisters, just to, like really let loose. And it's just allowing yourself to not care who's watching you, not care like what is going on around you, and just like your eyes are closed and you're just feeling the music, the frequency around you. And it's an opportunity to really just to play, to be in your child, like, you know, remember when you're a kid, like really put yourself in your inner child, like fully take yourself there, and recall a memory of you just fully being like on a slide or on the playground, like you have no thought, you know, it's fully like the feeling, oh, I want to feel excited, I want to go down the slide and I want to do this, and it's just like, and it happens and you just do it, you know, like there's no thought behind like, oh, is this dangerous, or like, you know what I mean, like, oh, is this like gonna, you know, it's like, no, like I'm just gonna go for it. And that feeling, that full expression of that is like what is missing as we grow up. And to really bring that out of ourselves and to be around people that bring that out of us is so important. It's so important. Like I do some weird shit with my girlfriends and like we are so like we have the sides, right? Like I can show up like a deity, like I can show up in my queen energy. I can show up grounded to host and to hold ceremony, but I can also show up like I want to dance, I want to play, I want to, you know, like make weird sounds with my mouth and just like, you know, like just be silly, right? Like,
Yeah.
and it's like that is life, that is what it is to be human. And there's no like, oh, I have to just be all this all the time. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, there's so much.
Now, you call yourself a hyperconnector. And for a lot of people watching this, they might not know what a hyperconnector is. What is a hyperconnector? What does that mean to you?
A hyperconnector is someone that has the ability to really connect on a deeper level. So a deeper and more intimate level, I would say.
Mhm.
So when I have meetings with people, I always go deep. I always get a proper feel of the person where it comes to their characteristics, their personality, their beliefs, their values, what their ideal client looks like, of course, like the business side of things as well. What are their goals? What's their vision, right? And I kind of store all of that in my head for the most part. A lot of it in my head, but also obviously a CRM is great for people that are in their masculine. And I'm able to really use those interactions to then help those people with anyone else that I find aligns with what they're trying to achieve in their
Okay.
vision with my
Right.
database of connections. And so these connections go internationally. And so obviously the more that you connect, the more that you network, the more that you know, Like it started with realtors in Vancouver. It started with, you know, different architects, designers. Now it's getting a little bit more intense, you know, like now I was in the car with Michael Jackson's private security the other day. And you know, it's just like little things like that where you're like, oh, okay,
Well, it's
cool.
amazing, Christabelle, because when you call yourself a hyperconnector, I had a networking meeting with someone only a few days ago, and he was from Vancouver, but he's in Colombia right now. And as I was going through your profile, I saw you in a picture with him. And I'm like, oh my God, do you know every single person in the world? What's going on here? Okay. Yes, you truly are. You know everyone. And we're all in different, you're in San Diego, he's in Colombia, I'm in Vancouver. It's like, how does this even happen? Okay. You know everyone, apparently.
I love it. I do. I genuinely really do love people. I love people when I see that there's something that they actually want to create in this world, you know, and like not saying that I don't like people that don't like doing that either, but like it's very much like I'm learning to really see light in everyone, you know, and there is light in everyone, of course. And yeah, I was like, do I want to go there in this podcast? There was like something that I was going to mention, but I don't know if
Go
I
ahead. Go ahead. Go
do
ahead.
it. Okay.
This is your
Um,
episode. This is your episode.
it was interesting because I was having this conversation with one of my friends. So in Vegas, Vegas is not my jam. So I
Okay.
realized that really quickly. And I kind of planned around like what the energy was going to be like there for someone like myself, just being very holding certain values and seeing a lot of what what Vegas is on the larger spectrum of things, right? And you know, having people kind of lost in what Vegas is and what it looks like, and
Yeah.
you know, going to Vegas and it's just all sex, drugs, money, gambling. Like it's very dark, right? And so for someone like me who doesn't really drink, well, doesn't drink at all, doesn't do any drugs, meditates, you know, gratitude journal, like very like cord cutting ceremony every morning, like very just like in my flow. Um, it was a little bit of a shock, not gonna lie. And I was having this conversation where with one of my buddies, and he was like, yeah, like you know, one of my friends is there too, and he says like I'm trying to look for God in everyone. And I was like, that's interesting to like, I'm not quite sure how I receive that, because like yes, and like yes, there is light in everyone. However, there gets to a point where some people don't even have that light anymore. They are so disconnected and so disassociated from who they are because of whatever situation that they're in. But it is it is fully like it's almost like they're so far gone that they've like completely sold that. Like, and like this is kind of dark, but like when I look, like I see things, and what when I look into people's eyes, and when I say that I see you, like I mean like I truly see you, like I see your soul. I don't see the body, I don't see the face, like I see your soul. And you know, like some of these people, like there's this film, there's like this like mask over the person where I can't see that anymore. And it's like they're
Okay, I see.
so disconnected that like I can't even see them.
So it seems like they're an empty shell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there are
And it's
some people that are, broken with their addictions, and I hope they get
yeah.
over their issues. And it sounds like that's something that you're discovering. The degeneracy of Las Vegas is known across the world. And yeah, it's
Mhm.
just an unfortunate reality. Mhm.
Yeah, and like yeah, I feel like it is unfortunate, but it's also like it's really sad. Like that's like a big like I remember like on the like most days actually, like the second and the third day really hit me hard. That I was there, like I fully was almost having like a panic attack. Like I was very much like I was feeling a lot of the energy of the collective, and it was like really like hurting me. Like I was in like a deep grief almost. I was like feeling all of the energy so intensely that I was really sad. Like, and I also couldn't find the exit of the casino. And I was just like, I was like, ow! Like, I
Okay,
need
yeah, that was just the cherry on top, right?
yeah, right. I'm like, how do you get out of, and obviously it's designed like that to keep you like in this, system, right? And so, and then as soon as you walk outside, and I just like, I remember one day, like one night there, I just like, I walked until like I couldn't walk anymore. And I was just like kind of away from like all the things. And I was just like, okay, like just like kind of collected myself and was like, okay, because like all you're hearing on the streets is like sex, strippers, like whatever it is, it's just that to its extent, and I'm like trying to just like not feel any of it. And it's just like, damn, like, and a lot of people are like, oh, like, well, how are you going to change that? What are you going to do to change that? And I'm like, well, I don't think it's changing it. I don't think the point is to change it. I think the point is to be something else or to create something else that's going to help the next generation up. Like a big part that I also play in is really impacting youth. It's impacting a lot of girls that are stepping into, their like late teens and early 20s and whatever that looks like. But that is a huge calling for me because like I kind of came from that similar past where I was doing a lot of those things and I didn't value myself and I didn't understand what that was. And, being a woman, and being someone that is, also has like really nice facial features and, it really is something that is a strength, but it can be you like you know how to use it to get whatever you want, but at the same time it's like, why would I ever do that? And it's like, how much do I value myself in order to have that level of respect that is being received for me as a woman and as a leader, and to be able to really hold that to a certain level where it's like, man, like you, like even in Vegas and LA and so many places where you're like, damn, like people really just do that to get to where they're at. Like there is like no actual like level of the work that goes into being that leader. It's like all through like going through like the easy escape routes of like, however to get whatever you need as a woman, which is also what is reflecting in our collective of how men treat women, and so I truly believe that women are leaders in this era that we're in right now, as we need to lead with this example of, this is the bar. This is like, yes, we hold this sexual energy and it's potent. The most potent energy that we have is our sexual energy. And when we're able to create that boundary, I don't have to say anything. I don't have to say anything. I just have to show up and I just have to present myself in a way where no one will misread the direction of the conversation. And that takes practice. Obviously, that's a part of self-mastery, right? But I think like teaching girls and teaching women how to actually hold themselves to that, to get that respect, right? And gain that respect and be taken seriously and know that like I'm here, to do this. And if you're not going to be a part of my vision, like this is like, we're not going to connect, like this is just not where the conversation is going to go. But this is my vision. And this is like, my relationship with that vision. And this is what I need to get me there. Are you able to meet me where that is and exchange that value? Or is it going to lead to some, you know what I mean? Like, how is that conversation going to go? And that is up to the women to lead, and then men have to meet them at that level.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a number of people watching this video. When it comes to sales, entrepreneurship, leadership, I've heard from many women many times that they find it quite difficult getting over the first hump and not being taken seriously. Would you have any words of advice for those people just coming in, those women just coming in, just starting to network, trying to reach out, having a difficult time asserting themselves? Would you have any advice for them in the beginning?
Absolutely. Yes. I feel like don't not be yourself, obviously, but also know what you're doing. The awareness is key. So even for myself, when I used to network, I was very touchy. And that was just something that was like, oh, look, that's just me. But of course, that's going to be taken in a way that is not, like friendly, right? And so allow people to have certain access to you to a certain point that you feel comfortable and safe for that access to be more accessible, of course, right? So when I say that, when you go up to meet someone for the first time, you hold yourself, you're grounded, you're present, and you're not rude, you're not mean, you're kind, but you know where that boundary is. And when I say that, like, really ask yourself, like, what am I doing? Because I used to literally say, oh my gosh, every single man that I have a meeting with wants to like take me on a date and all this stuff. And I'd be like, what's wrong with men? No, nothing's wrong with men. Men are men. Okay. What am I doing in that situation that is giving off some kind of, and where's my sexual energy spilling here? Right. And as soon as I started to like kind of hone in on that and refine that and know that that is something that's sacred, that not everyone, no one gets access to that until they are worthy of having access to that. That's when things started to change. Even when it came to like what I was posting on social media, like, like I used to, I mean, once in a while I'll still throw in like a bikini photo here and there, but like that was such a long time ago. I used to do all of that. I used to do like the selfies, all the things of just me, and it was very me centric.
Mhm.
And of course, like the recognition that I would get from that would be a lot of men, and it was for that attention. So what is like the underlying level there that you're trying to, what engage with? Is it the attention? And for a lot of us it is, right? Like maybe it's like a childhood thing, and for a lot of us it's also that, right? So really being able to navigate all of this and being able to go out there now and leading by this example of saying like, okay, like now I know for sure when I'm going out there and networking and meeting tons of people, like there is a level of access that I give, that I share. There is a side that is playful, but they have to have like a solid relationship with me before it can move into a different level of access to me,
Great.
you know?
Yeah. And this is, I consider myself to be a super connector, and I do, and that's also what I aspire to be, a better super connector as every day. Now, this is what I love about it, is that just from meeting you, there are so many women I know that experience this and talk about this issue, and now immediately I know that I can send them over to you, and maybe they can be coached by you. And so I'm a person that is able to see a problem and then provide a solution for them, even when I can't fix it, but I know someone who can. And that's the great thing about being a super connector. And then all of a sudden, everybody across the world like you do, and you see people in pictures that from different sides of the world, and you see them in pictures with you. That's how that happens.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. I got other stuff in here. This is a really great interview. Now you have a very strong social media presence, as you spoke about. When it comes to your own entrepreneurial endeavors, how important is it to work on your personal brand in 2024?
So I have a couple thoughts about this one. Personal brand, yes, and right. So I believe that your authenticity is everything. And yes, social media, depending on are your clients on social media? You know what I mean? Like, what is the target demographic of who you're trying to connect with?
Mm.
So I think figuring that part out first. Is personal branding your thing? If it's not, outsource it. For real, just outsource it.
Mm.
100%. If it's not your jam, if you can't just like, have the consistency of posting at least 2, 3 times a week, it's just not your cup of tea, you're not, aesthetically like whatever, like you just don't see it, don't have an eye for it. Some of us
Mm.
just don't. I'm not saying that I do. I just post and people seem to like certain things, but I also am unattached to the likes. I post because I get excited about certain things. I want to share, I want to educate certain things. I don't want someone to limit what I say. I just want to speak my truth. And so for me, that is enough. I use social media as something that people can find me. Some people can learn a little bit more about me. That's how I use it. I don't really use it as much to get clients, but I actually have gotten a lot of clients from just doing that, from just being me, and sharing about what I do and what I really care about, the vision. And but if it's not your thing, outsource it. There's so many people that enjoy doing it, that are great at doing it, which leaves you more room to do what you love doing. And
Exactly.
there's a lot with it, right? And I'm like, I don't do like as much as I need to be doing on social media, but at the same time, it's not
Well, you dance
required.
quite a bit, and that's very entertaining.
Check out my page, guys, if you want to see some kick-ass dancers.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's funny. But yeah, that's what I would say.
Great. Great. And I'm just going to read a quote from one of your websites. Okay. You said, I am a connector and I'm always looking to see how I can help someone expand through my network. So how exactly do you do that? How do you do that? What does that process look like?
I love that. And thank you for pulling that from my website. That's awesome. So, ooh, okay. So there's this powerful reading that I was given about sometime last year, I guess. And it's pure medicine. The reading was pure medicine. It was pure wisdom. It is very sacred and dear to my soul. And one of the attributes, one of the key components of who I am, of my inner essence, is um, expansion and superabundance.
Okay.
And so expansion is my innate nature. I expand, I allow others to expand, and it's through who I am and through who people I connect them to. So sometimes I call myself like an opportunity holder or something like that, where I'm able to really, I understand now though the responsibility of having that amount of connections and resources. And you, as a human who is on the other side, has to meet me somewhere where you are worthy of that connection,
Mm,
you know? And I think a lot of people don't understand that, is that like, oh, I know Christabelle and she's just going to help me with this and blah, 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 blah. But it's like, no, that's not it. You need to show up. Like, you need to put in the work, and, you need to make, like, the connections that I have could change your life, you
yes,
know?
absolutely.
And that is such a true statement, where I am going to open up the door for people that I see the value, and I see that it's going to be a mutual benefit for two people. It's always got to be for both. Yes, I can help this person, but also, like, do they have the drive? Do they have the ambition? Do they have that vision that's set, that I know that they're not just going to be like, oh, like, cool, I have this one step, like, to success, and now I'm just gonna, like, leave everything and, not do any work, right? Or is it gonna be like they're gonna use that opportunity and completely optimize it and fully put in everything and show up, to meet it there. And I've learned that obviously the hard way, and I'm sure you have as well, of, like, people really just taking advantage of you as that.
Yep.
And like, oh,
Yep.
Crystal's got all these connections, and Steven's got all these connections. I'm just gonna buddy up with them, and then, like, my life will be good. And it's like, and that person that gave me that reading, she said one thing to me. She's like, be careful of people that want to ride your coattail.
Yep. That's right. Yeah.
And it is so true. And it's not saying that I'm not here to help. I'll give you advice. I'll give you, I'll give you my time. My time is valuable. I'll give you my time. I'll spend 15, 20 minutes with you and give you some, some value there. But you need to show me, right? What does that really look like? And if I don't see that right away, then it's not that I don't want to help you. It's that you have an opportunity to rise to a place where I will be able to help you.
Mhm. I think that you and I are quite similar in terms of maybe sometimes we may have learned from overextending ourselves in terms of our compassion to be
Mhm.
helpful. And I'll just give a quote from my favorite movie, The Lord of the Rings. So Bilbo Baggins says to Gandalf, I feel spread too thin, like butter scraped over too much bread. And now in his circumstance, he was talking about wearing the Ring of Power, and he was 110 years old, and that's what gave him eternal life. However, I feel like that circumstance may happen to me sometimes when I'm spreading myself out too thin to be a super connector, and I'm not taking a look at the people who just want to take advantage and just want to drain my energy. So I'm still learning how to discover who those people are. I definitely know who the exceptional people are. When I
Mm.
meet them, I know, oh, wow, this guy's going to be a superstar. Even when they're just starting out networking. I know one guy, I know some people, they open up their YouTube channel, they're putting out shorts every day, they're trying to inspire people, and they're just getting started in their sales journey, their networking journey, their personal branding. and I can tell. And then I also have people contacting me saying, hey, have you heard of any opportunities? It's like, man, I don't know who you are. It's like, hi, I
Mhm.
don't know you, but give me something. So
Yeah.
I need to learn how to deal with those people. And in a book that I read called SUPERCONNECTOR, it was
Mm.
SUPERCONNECTOR, Stop Networking and Start Building Business Relationships That Matter. It talked about three different people in networking. There's givers, there's matchers, and there's takers. Now, we all know who the takers are. They don't put in any energy to even get to know you, but they just want something from you, okay? They're easier to, sometimes they're disguised, but eventually you figure out who they are. Then there's the matchers, and they believe in reciprocity, and that's great because they understand that getting into a relationship with someone, building that relationship, you need to at least have a reciprocal appreciation, or you need to offer something when they offer something to you. And that's how that relationship is created. And then there's the givers. Now, the givers do the best and the worst in networking. And the reason why is because some givers end up being a doormat and they're taken advantage of by all the takers. But then there are the givers that have learned and they're able to be a giver to all of the other givers and all of the other matchers. And those are the people that do exceptional in their
Mhm.
career, and they're exceptionally successful because they know how to offer value, whatever that is, but they're able to be aware of the people that they need to stay away from. Is that something that you really had to learn over time? How
Mhm.
to filter the people around you?
Yes, and so yes, I agree. There has to be a level of discernment, but at the same time, I think every single interaction, if you go in with the opportunity to give, it doesn't always have to be, something that's so large that can change someone's life. But I mean, mind you, even sometimes the words that I say, can change someone's life, right? Be like, hey, like a piece of feedback for you, or something I would suggest that may be able to help you on your journey is when you're doing this, try this, try this lens instead, see how this feels and see what happens, after you step into that. Right. And so sometimes it can be as easy as like, you can still be that person that always wants to help. And that's not something that should be shamed upon, or like, to be
Hmm.
careful of doing, but it should just be like, hey, like, sometimes all it is like I can spare 10 seconds of my life to, maybe coach this person or educate this person a little bit. Cause again, you don't know what you don't know. Right. And some of the people that are new to networking, right, it is all like me, 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 me. Right. But go in and whether it's, I used to network and I used to be like, oh, like, I just want, sometimes I just didn't even want to talk about business. I would just be like, I just want to, leave everyone 1% happier than I met them. And I would just have a conversation with them and just like, just start laughing, just like have a conversation, just lead to like the playfulness, right? Or just spread light, spread love, whatever that looks like, right? And it doesn't always have to be business centric. And I always used to find actually that if I just led with that, and then I would just book a meeting after, that first interaction, after having that first meet, but it's up to you to do the follow-up, right? And to really, connect with that person. But every single person I would have that one-on-one meeting with, learn as much as I could about them, genuinely care, right? Genuinely be curious. What is
Mhm.
this person? Like, who is this person that you're
Yeah.
meeting? People are so beautiful. They have so much to offer you, so much to give. They don't even realize it. And, you never know when you're going to meet that person that's going to be like connecting you to someone else that they know, or whatever that looks like, right? So looking at everything as an opportunity to learn,
Yes.
to give and to also receive, right? Because that is the energy, the frequency, the balance of the universe, right? Receiving and giving, right? So
Yeah. And before we wrap this up, I just have one question here. Now, I speak with a lot of people that are just starting in their networking journey and they don't know what to do, but they have this tremendous insecurity, which I experienced in the beginning, this nervousness, and they believe that they have nothing to offer. So I'm trying to network, I'm trying to find opportunities, but I feel like I shouldn't even be talking to these people. Like I'm not even giving myself permission because I don't have the same status with them, and there's nothing that I could actually offer them in terms of reciprocity. So what words of encouragement would you have for those people to help them just step outside of their comfort zone, put themselves out there, and just get to know people?
yeah, I love that question. I think it's so powerful for, like when I look back at even my journey, and again, when you're in a room and you're networking and you're new and you're unsure of what to really say, like, um, just start asking questions, right? And when you're asking questions with someone and you're genuinely curious to learn about what they're doing, who they are, and what got them there, and just really, really engaging in conversation, you are actually giving. And
Yes,
what I mean by that, you're giving the other an opportunity to share, to step into their teacher, to step into their leadership role, And so it is yes, you're receiving information. However, you're also giving an opportunity for the other to step into a higher frequency as well.
that's great. I love it. I love it so much. Christabel, this has been such an incredible interview. I want to see what you're like a year from now. You're going to be transformed to an even more incredible person. We're going to have another interview. Maybe one day you'll be interviewing me. You never know. Maybe I'm going to be a celebrity one day. All right.
Yes.
Maybe I'll have Michael Jackson's bodyguards around me. I don't know why I would, but maybe I'll be speaking at a conference in Vegas. Hey, you know what? I would love to be a motivational speaker, and I'm considering getting training for that. I currently do have a coach, and he's helping me with that. I'm going to do my first presentation in 2 days at the Pacific Arts Center. Anastasia is going to be the host.
Amazing.
It's might be very expensive to get in. It's $6.66. That's Canadian dollars. So it's approximately $4 American for anyone watching. But you know what? I'm going to put on a great performance. If you can fly down here into Vancouver and have a seat with 20 other people, you can see me perform. And I might even record it on camera and mic
Yes,
myself up.
please.
So
Yeah.
I'm excited because that's going to be my first performance. And eventually I would love to rock a crowd of 100 people. I believe that I have that capability. I believe that I can hone my strengths, and so long as I get the correct coaching from the correct mentors, and who knows, maybe you'll be one of them, I can eventually achieve my goals. And thanks so much, Christabel, for having you on. And I think what we'll do now is we'll just wave goodbye to the audience and stop the recording.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.